Hey, hello everybody. This is Tim with Bear Island Outpost. Today we're going to do an unboxing of the Gateway 55 gallons drum smoker. It's the Sizzle red in color, and I purchased it off of Tractor Supply's website. It did take a few days to get here as they shipped it freight, and I believe it drop shipped directly from the manufacturer's location in Washington, Missouri. And I'm in Northeast Florida, so it took a few days, about a week I would say, to get here. And it really actually arrived in really good shape, so we was very happy to see that when it showed up in the truck. So anyway, we'll give you a quick walk around of what it looked like when we received it. And as you can see, it is nicely secured to a pallet. It has the band straps on it, so you'll need something to cut those. They are plastic, they're not the metal ones. It's got shrink wrapped around it, and really not even a ding or scratch anywhere on the box. They did a really good job in packaging it, and the freight company obviously did a good job to make sure it didn't get damaged in shipment. So anyway, we'll get this thing opened up, and then we will take a look at it and talk about a few things. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and cut this band off for starts. Just got a pair of 10 snips. Could use probably a pair of scissors for that matter. We'll get the shrink wrap off of it. Luckily in our hometown, the city has provided a couple of recycle dumpsters downtown for cardboard products. So usually when I get these larger shipments in, I'll go ahead and take them down in size a little bit so they'll fit in the dumpster. And that way you're not clogging up your garbage can at the house. So we're lucky to have that here in our city. You can get rid of these larger cardboard boxes. Now, I've had a lot of different types of smokers since I really started getting into the barbecuing. Started out with an offset smoker, also known as a stick burner, and actually got pretty good with that one. We competed in a backyard competition here in our town. It's called the Great Tailgate Smoke Event or something. I forget what it was called. Anyway, we did good. Okay. This apart. Anyway, like I was saying, we've had the offset smoker, we've had a pellet smoker, Traeger. Wasn't the most impressed with that. I don't know, maybe I just was used to the stick burner, but I ended up giving it to a family member. So I've always heard that these drum smokers offer really fantastic barbecue flavoring, because the meat is basically right over the heat source. And you can get the rib rack for it, which I did, and the ribs will hang vertically right over the charcoal box. Okay, so we have the lid here. That's the first thing that came out of the box, was the lid. And this is one of the exhaust stacks to control obviously your oxygen and airflow. So obviously the more open you have it, the more is exhausting out the top, and the hotter it can be depending on the side stacks and what you've got them set to. But anyway, there's the lid. And again, this is the Gateway 55 gallon Sizzle red in color. Got this thing boxed like Fort Knox. cushions out of here. What I'm going to do, because it's fairly heavy right here, and it might actually be secured to the bottom, I don't know, is I'm going to take these sides down so it just kind of fillets itself open, if you know what I'm saying. Like I said, really packed very well. Very impressed. They've done a great job with that. Often, when you're ordering this kind of a thing online, you know, the lids get dented, drums get dented, forklifts run into the box, what have you. People just not really paying attention to them as they're moving things around. But this is not the case. They did a really good job with this one. All right. And again, I'm just going to each corner and opening it up. It's just way easier. And then you just fold right down like that. Not a big deal. You can actually cut them off. Gotta watch yourself with these utility knives. They have razor blades and they're very sharp. It's actually assisting my daughter putting some vinyl flooring in her house. And we were cutting, or I was cutting a piece of it, and came across my thumb and filleted it like a fish. I had to go to the urgent care to get some of that surgical glue to put my finger back together. Luckily I didn't have stitches. Okay, so I'm just laying these sides out, and they're about the right size to put in the recycle bin downtown. Okay, so looks like it's just sitting on this bottom piece. So what I'm going to do now is take this stuff off. Now again, this is shrink wrapped all the way around, so I'm going to have to be very careful. If I cut into this, I could scratch the outside of it, so I don't want to do that by any means. Be very careful with it. Really packaged well for shipping. Put that rascal down. You know, again, hats off to you Gateway smokers. True story, I'm a Missouri native. Grew up in rural northeast Missouri, so hats off to the Missouri people for job well done and getting this thing ready for shipment. Just have to call attention to detail. Now we're getting there. We're starting to see some red here. This packaging. All right. Take off this little piece on the bottom. Okay. All right. Let's bring the camera over here real quick. Give you a little walk around. Looks to be the back side of it. Here's the front side. You've got two vertical exhaust stacks. One on the right and one on the left here. And from what I've seen on some of the reviews online, they've kind of put the tip of their index finger in there. I don't know. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, maybe on both sides, and just kind of leave it at that. And then the exhaust stack that's built into the lid, kind of control your heat flow with that one. But I'll have to play with it, and obviously do a test cook on it, and I'll bring everybody along for that. But anyway, two really nice looking vertical exhaust stacks as well, and also looks like the it's got a place in the front of it here, right here, for the thermometer. It goes there, so it's probably down inside of here somewhere. And I believe it said there was 3 levels of cooking, so obviously the cooking grate, and I believe that's a 22-inch grate. It's on the bottom, furthest down position now, and then you could just move it up to the additional pins up towards the top, so 3 different levels of cooking. So anyway, we'll take out the cooking grate, set that over here aside, and here is your charcoal basket, if you will. And this particular model also, here's the thermometer. So, yeah, thermometer right here. So you have to install that, not a big deal. And it does come with your removable casters. Obviously, I don't want this thing really sitting outside, so it will be kept in the garage. And of course, concrete garage floor and driveway will make it very easy to maneuver around. I don't know if these are locking casters. I don't believe they are. I'll have to take a look at that. That might be a little problematic, but I might be able to swap out at least one of them for a locking caster. But yeah, there's the main barrel, if you will, that the charcoal basket goes down inside of. And then as I'm facing it again, that's where the thermometer is going to go, right here. This right exhaust stack looks to come out right there, and the left exhaust stack obviously comes out on the other side. So, you know, as your charcoal is doing its thing, you can exhaust that heat up out of the basket, and you control it with these louvers on top, basically. So that's what that looks like. We will stop for right now, and I'll look at getting the casters on. Okay, so we have the drum smoker upside down. I just set it on top of the cardboard and was real careful that the charcoal shroud inside didn't fall out. It stayed in there. But anyway, so there's 4 self-tapping screws for basically each caster. So there's 4 locations for the casters, and each location has 4 of the self-tapping screws. Tongue twisted here, sorry about that. The instructions are vague. It just says to install them. It doesn't say, you know, the size of the socket or whatever. So I just got my handy dandy socket set out, and you know, it's between, on the metric side, this is the looks to be a 10 millimeter. So it's a little loose. You can turn it pretty good in there. If I use a standard 3/8 socket, it's pretty tight. Doesn't travel to the left and right too much. So I'm going to go with the 3/8. Of course, this is a 1/4 inch drive socket, so that's what we'll put them on with. Not rocket science, but just check them before you put it on. You don't want to strip something. We'll go ahead and get these going. Bring the camera over here so we can see what we're doing. And like I said, these are the non-locking casters. So like I said, the problem I can see with that is it will move around a little bit on the concrete if you're not watching. Now, these self-tapping screws are going to be a little ornery, I have a feeling, going in. And Yeah, I could probably use my impact drill, and I may have to. Okay, so as you can see, that is being a little bit of a challenge. A little bit of a challenge. Not a lot, just a little. Let me tell you what, let me get that out of the way. See if I can at least get one started without having to go get the drill. See, that is crazy. Impact drill, just to see what happens here. Okay, we're gonna have to be careful. I'm not sure because I could see where that was trying to go through the bottom of the smoker. Yeah. It just says, using the tapping screws, drill the screws into place. Make sure they're tight. Yeah, okay, well, we're just gonna have to be careful with this thing. Way easier than what I was trying to do, that's for sure. Use your impact drill. 10 times easier. Again, we're going with full disclosure. Not perfect by any means. Okay. Probably should put my reading glasses on. Everybody knows I'm blind as a bat. That's the other thing too. Full disclosure. Obviously when you're doing stuff like this, as I'm sure all you guys are screaming at me on the screen, you never tighten the first one all the way down. You want a little play so you can realign these other holes properly. I went too far with it. It's tight. You know, again, full disclosure here. Don't do that. You know what I think I'm going to do is not go all the way with this. Get them started. Yes, I know one thing I'm missing. Safety glasses. We will rectify that right now. I'm seeing metal shavings. Metal shavings and eyeballs don't mix. Well, I guess that's a long ways from the bottom of the grill. Yeah, there's probably maybe 1/8 of an inch between the tip of the screw and the bottom of the drum. Certainly got to be careful with these impact drills. You will over tighten. I thought about maybe just doing it by hand, but I think I can judge it pretty good. All right, we'll move over to the next. I'll do one more and then we'll skip the other two, and then we'll go to the thermometer install. A little easier too if you put the screw all the way through the base of the caster, and then you can see the hole down there, and then do it. And again, don't tighten that first one too much. Now you see how I can move it around. Way easier to get the second one started. Got metal shavings flying, so make sure you have safety glasses on. Okay, we got all the casters installed. I did, like I said, I suggest not going all the way down with the impact drill. You might strip one of the holes out. So once it started making contact, I stopped, and then I went around each one of the casters, all 4 self-tapping screws, and finish it up with my ratchet so I could get a good feel for how tight it was. Didn't want to strip anything. But anyway, there's the casters. Again, non-locking casters. I don't know if they make casters. These are kind of the smaller size, I guess. If you look at my thumb, from the base of the drum, it's about right to the base of my index finger wise, height wise. But yeah, I would have thought they would have maybe put a couple of them locking, but I don't know. I'm probably overthinking things. I can just see this thing moving around a little bit while you're cooking, but until I get out there and try it, I won't really know. So anyway, what we're going to do now is get the drum flipped over. I'll probably put it over here on the concrete now that I've got the casters on it, and we'll work on getting the thermometer in. Okay, we've got the thermometer inserted into the hole here. Not a big deal. There are threads right there on this part where my finger is of the thermometer. Want to kind of eyeball it on the front, I guess. Maybe line it up with the badge. Do you have a nice Gateway drum smoker badge on there? And it's just kind of going to set in there. And I can probably line it up a little bit better once I get the nut tightened up on there. It does have a flat washer right here. Goes right around the probe and then up and over the threads, and then here's your nut. I'm just going to use a small crescent wrench that I have to tighten that up. Again, don't want to over tighten anything. Probably just a little bit beyond snug. You don't want to damage the temperature probe in any way, shape, or form. But I'll go ahead and put this down for a minute until I get this lined up like I want. Okay, we've got the thermometer installed. Very straightforward, as we showed you just earlier. Just a matter of tightening it up and lining it up. One thing that's important to note: these grate pegs. Grate being your 22-inch grate right here. These grate pegs are actually welded. Looks like they're tack welded around the inside of the barrel. So, and again, there's 3 different cooking levels. So every single one of them is tack welded. So that's a great job on Gateway's part. Maybe they all do that. I don't know. I just noticed that. And if I go like here's the top and right outside or inside the handle here. If I go on the other side, you can see there's no hole whatsoever. So it's definitely tack welded right inside of the drum chamber here. Also, word of advice: before you flip it upside down to put your casters on it, your wheels on it, if you will, this does come out. It's just a U-shaped cutout around the exhaust pipe for the vertical stacks, and it just pulls basically straight up and out. I would highly advise taking that out, as well as the coal basket, before you flip it upside down to install your wheels on it, your casters. So just a piece of advice there. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Of course, this is your coal basket that goes down inside of here. And again, the reason I did a review on this this Gateway 55 gallon was I didn't see a whole bunch of them out there, and I thought I would kind of do one unboxing, kind of start to finish on the unit. So that's kind of that. Obviously it comes with one of the 22-inch grates. I think it's the same size as my Weber Smoky Mountain, which has a couple of these on there. This came with one. We actually opted to order a second one. I'm not sure that we'll use it, but we've got it if we do decide to use it, maybe down on one of the lower ones or something. It'd be kind of hot, I would think, so I would imagine we'd probably have to be very careful with that. And then the other thing that we decided to order was, I think it's called a heat diffuser plate. Pardon me not being prepared, but we did get a heat diffuser plate to go in here as well. I would imagine that would go at the very bottom of the unit, kind of like so. Okay, sorry about that. These GoPro batteries that come with the GoPro shooting at 4K do not last long, so I'm gonna have to get an external battery pack for this thing. But anyway, getting back to this, I did buy the diffuser plate. Put all one thing in here. I'm gonna have to go this way. There we go. A little bit difficult getting it in there, but anyway, the diffuser plate, as you can see, has various diameter holes. So as the heat is rising out of your coal basket, it's more evenly dispersing the heat. And I guess the theory would be have a more even cook. I had a diffuser plate on my offset one time and it seemed to work pretty good. Again, this is ordered extra. I forget what I paid for it, but it's probably in the $70 to $90 range depending on where you buy it at. And then I bought the extra 22-inch grate. So that's really about it as far as the assembly goes on the unit. We'll go ahead and get the top on here so you can see what it looks like with the top on. Pretty sharp. Obviously, one thing to note as well, I'm pretty sure, just from my experience with the offset stick burner, is when you put the lid on, you're going to want this top exhaust stack at the back. So opposite of the thermometer on the back side. I think it'll just even out the airflow as opposed to having it up front with all three of them aligned. So you're going to want it in the back. And I'm pretty sure it may say something about that in the manual. Like most men, I don't necessarily look at the manual until I've made a mistake and then figure out I should have read the manual, but this thing's pretty straightforward. And again, from what I've understood from people that's got these things, they keep these front vertical exhaust stacks about a quarter of the way open, maybe just about the tip of your index finger, and then you can regulate your temperature through opening and closing this on the unit. And that's really about it. I believe there's also, yeah, there's also a hook here to hang it when you need to check something. I don't know if it goes down there. I'm assuming it goes down there. Not sure. I'll have to look into that, but there is a hook on the welded to the back side of this. So that's it pretty much. So the next video, what we will do is go over seasoning the smoker. Typically what I'll do is I'll use like a can of Pam cooking spray, or maybe even the olive flavor, and you know, coat the inside of it, the top, you know, the inside of the bottom of the lid, and then fire it up and get it seasoned before I do the first test cook, I should say. So anyway, that is an unboxing and setup of the Gateway drum smoker. It's the 55-gallon Sizzle, red in color. Hope everybody enjoyed the video and it didn't bore you to death. We'll see you. Bye.